Conscious Love Network. Oh, sorry about that. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the One Conscious Love Network. I'm here with Vinaya. And I met through Bump Global, and he's a wonderful spiritual being, and I wanted to introduce him to all of you. So, Vinaya, please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you shed your light in the world.
Wow. About myself, according to my mother, I'm a weirdo. And I like to laugh and make fun out of myself, actually.
Oh,
And trying to be serious. I'm now 71 years old, traveled the world for about 50 years,
oh,
and lived in one country for a few years, and the next country, wherever the wind or existence blew me, or where my heart told me to be. And yeah, working on myself many years ago when I was in India meeting a master. So the focus was inside and learning how to become aware of my programs we all get, which nothing else had nothing else to do with myself. So by becoming aware of the programs, I could step out of them and being aware of them. So when they pop up, I just go like, oh, okay, that's not me. That's my old man. Or that's a German style and I have nothing to do with that. I was born in Germany. And since I was 16 or so, I was already a crystal freak, going out and collecting crystals and just loving them. And then later on, through my journey, I became aware that I know the energetics of crystals. So I started healing with crystals. And then at one point, I came across tarot, which I practiced a little bit because I do have different insights, had that all my life about what's going on in people and like kind of looking behind the mask, so to speak. But tarot didn't quite work for me, and also because it was more like for the future and not for now. Because the future, nobody can predict because, yeah, it depends what I do in the next 10 seconds, where I'm going to be the next day. So
right.
that didn't work for me. And then with my work with crystals and my intuitive abilities, I suddenly came across a way of doing readings, helping people to step more into their power, rediscovering their gifts, which we all know what we have and we all know our path, but it's been buried by the programming we get to be this or that, or, be a German, be a Polish, be an American, be a Christian, be a Muslim, be this, be that, which in my book does not work because existence does not create anything like no carbon copy. We are all different. So trying to fit into a box doesn't quite work. And many of us know that there is something missing, something not quite right. And to rediscover that is my passion. I mean, help people rediscover that is my passion, besides just celebrating this amazing experience of being in the body and being alive.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Make sense?
Yes, that's beautiful. I love that. Tell us a little bit more about the places you've traveled and what you learned in each part of the world.
Well, I started when I was about 20, 21, went from Germany overland to India. And already in Turkey and Iran, then suddenly I realized that, yeah, there are different ways to live.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the German way. There are like many ways where people find happiness and live together and create something together. So that was the first major impact to see that, yeah, we are all different and cultures are different. And there are many, many ways to live and to be in community and be together.
Mm-hmm.
So I went overland to India, went shortly back to Europe, went into the South Pacific, went back to Europe, went to Australia, went to the States. The last 15 years, I'm hanging out in Central and South America, right now in Peru. And really, the biggest impact, I think, is that this planet is just amazing. Nature is beautiful. There's an immense variety. And to really enjoy that came naturally to me, specifically, I guess, because seeing all these different ways nature expresses itself. And also learning that in most places, even though there's different cultures which are more alive than in Germany, for example, like in Mexico or Peru or India, the people are more alive, even though they're still in a box. And at the same time, there's always a certain amount of individuals who are really on the path. They're really trying to find out who they really are, what their gifts are, and then sharing that and being of service to other people. And also the last few years, I noticed that there is more and more people who are stepping out of the story, so to speak, and becoming more aware and conscious. So there's a big wow in me that yes, possibly, perhaps it is time for us now to really step into paradise earth, paradise life, and really become, I don't even know what to say, like free from myself, the programs I got. That's what I call freedom from myself, which is not myself, but freedom from the story I've been told in the past when I grow up. And so becoming free of that is the most amazing experience once we step into our own uniqueness one can have, because suddenly there are no more problems, there are no more challenges, there's total acceptance of myself. I don't care about judgments because that's your point of view. From my point of view, this is different, right? And really stepping into that is, I think, the goal of all of us. Some of us are not ready to even think about it, which is great, because I guess planet Earth is a school, I've heard, like the most difficult school in the universe, and I can see that.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, some of us are graduating, and it's really beautiful to see, because when I look around the planet and all through my travels, people are amazing. They're creative. They're like, wow, nature is amazing. So let's live that.
And with all your years of experience working in this field and working with people, what do you feel is leading to this awakening, to this moment in time where people are more interested in the experience that's beyond what's programmed into them?
What comes to mind is people like you and me, and people who are on the path and actually live an example where people then can really experience, wait a minute, I don't need to be miserable. That guy is always happy. What's up with that? Yeah, so, there's a shining energy there. I feel trust. I feel comfortable. I feel accepted. How can I be like this? And the more of us who are stepping into that beingness, the more examples are here on the planet that, yeah, I don't need to be miserable or do things I actually don't want to do. If that guy can do it, I probably can do it as well. So
Oh, that's so true. I love that.
and according to many ancient traditions, we have cycles on the planet, like light cycles and dark cycles, Kali Yuga and I don't know what the new one is called. The Kerosia and the Indians also have the same kind of insight. And to all of them, this time, not this day or this year, but this period of time is a time of coming back to us and finding ourselves, coming back into the light. Why this is changing all the time? I have no clue, but it seems to be true and happening. Yeah, so I guess because many of us came here to be an example. No need to learn anything anymore. Like we did the school. Now we come back to be not a teacher, but an example of how life is. Yeah. And there's lots of us around. And what I'm not praying or hoping for, but what the biggest possibility here is the 100 monkey effect. I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh, please share.
But it's basically scientifically proven then that if a certain amount of something, like in Japan it was the monkeys, so that's why they call it the 100 monkey effect. They taught monkeys to clean their food. It was on an isolated island in Japan. And suddenly, when there was a certain amount of monkeys knowing that on that island, all the monkeys on the mainland suddenly knew it. Also, they tried to reproduce that effect with a liquid gas. And I saw that, and it's amazing. Like the gas was liquid and it's not coherent. It was going all over the place, right? The atoms. There was no coherence in there. They brought, and I don't know how, but they brought 1% of that liquid into coherence. And instantly, the rest went into coherence. So if when we have certain amount of people who are stepping into their beingness, into their power, into the present, then apparently the whole of humanity just goes boom, and we all wake up.
That'd be beautiful. What are some of the methods and modalities that you use to share with people so that they can see what their programs are? How can they be free from their reality that they're in today?
There are quite a few different ways of becoming aware, and it really depends on the person I'm talking to. And through the crystals and energetic connection to that person, it gets clear what are their gifts, how do they get there, certain meditations, certain awareness exercises. It really depends on the person, because we are all on a different stage or in a different situation. One which is coming up most of the time, no, not most of the time, but very often, is work on your trauma. We all have trauma. And if we do not release that from our nervous system and our cellular system, it doesn't matter what meditation I do or what exercise I do. That runs the story and I cannot get out of it. So for many people, trauma release exercise is quite important. And the other thing is self-acceptance and worth, self-worth. And for that, there is a general answer for everybody, and it's an understanding. So if I look around in nature, everything fits. Everything has a place. Everything has a reason. Everything is perfect so that the whole picture works and flows and life can happen. So why do you think you're the only one who's not perfect? You are, because existence, God, or whatever you want to call it, the universe does not create anything imperfect. And first understanding that, and then really incorporating that into a feeling. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes, I can feel that I'm actually great. And then I understand that the judgment, you're not good enough. You need to learn more. You need to grow up. You need to blah, blah, blah. Is
Mm-hmm.
coming from the outside, from mother, father, country, whatever you want to name it, religion. We get programs that we are not good enough. But then I ask the question, who is the bigger authority? Your mother or the universe?
And is that one and the same sometimes? I love
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah, so
beautiful.
really understanding that and feeling that and really learning to be in the present, basically becoming aware. And again, it's different for everybody.
Yes.
What would be the next step and how can I step into that? And that comes through the readings I give and
Mm-hmm.
or over a period of time coaching. Yeah.
What are the common challenges that you're finding with your clients? Like, what are they wanting to solve? What are they wanting to remove from their lives?
They come to me because they want to know how to create a life which actually fulfills them. They
Mm,
have an
beautiful.
idea already that, yeah, it's great. No worries about it. But there's still something missing. There's
Mm,
still something not quite right. So that question needs to be asked first to go on the path, right? If I'm happy with my life, then what's the point of changing? But many of us are not because there's this feeling of lack. There's a feeling of there's more. This can't be it. And then we can step into the inquiry of what is it what you need to learn. And the most common things, again, is self-acceptance, self-worth. It's one of the most common factors in what people are struggling with. Fear and anxiety, which is also like a quite funny story, actually, because I have no clue what's going to happen in 10 seconds. You know, a house can fall on my head right now, or it can be whatever. I don't know. So there's no point of being afraid of something which most likely is never going to happen. And these fears, though, come mostly out of traumas, in my experience, or very often. And so, again, trauma release is a very beneficial way of getting clear and aware and stepping out of the fear.
mm,
The other questions usually is love.
yes.
Do I have a partner for life or the challenges in the partnership? So we look at the energetics of that and how can I invite a partner? Do I need a partner? How is that working? And then we look at the requirements you have and what you can do for yourself to invite the right partner, not the right partner, but the partner in your vision, with your energy, with your frequency, so that you don't go again and again in something you don't actually want to have.
Mm, so true.
And what else is common? No, these are the most common things.
Yeah.
And then next questions about my job, shall I do it? Shall I not do it? And then I always say, okay, no, yes or no, I cannot answer.
Right.
But we can look at what's the energetic of the job. What's the energetic if you don't have the job? And then you can make a decision according to your feeling, what is right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that comes to mind. There's another common thing is like, how do I make decisions? How do I find out what is right, so to speak? What is in my being? And then I can say, out of 50 years of experience traveling around the world, when you follow your heart, you're always right. You're always in the right place. You might not necessarily understand it, but you're always in the right place. If you follow your mind, the mind is all. So I teach people also, or point out how they can decide through their heart, through their intuition, through their gut feeling. Because like I say, for 50 years, I followed my heart the first time when I decided I can't be a German. There must be more to life than that. And my heart kind of like, on it, not my heart, but somewhat India came into my vision, into my awareness. And it was like, yeah. So I followed that, despite all the arguments my mother gave me that I can't do this, that I have to work, I have to get a pension, I da 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 da. And what are you gonna do when you're old? My answer was like, well, I don't know. I figure that out when I'm old. Right now, I'm going to India. And I've been always following my heart. I never really knew what I want to do next, or where do I want to go next, or if I want to stay here or what. No, I was just being in the present, and then suddenly my heart or the intuition or something came into my vision, like Australia. Okay, boom, I'm going to Australia. Oh, I had no clue where to go, and I met a guy in Germany, a friend I met in India, and it was winter, it was summertime, and he goes, "What are you doing in the winter?" I said, "I don't know." "Come to Hawaii." "Oh, that feels right." So it's always like in the moment with the intuition and the feeling. And I also learned that when I go against it, uh-oh, you're not supposed to go to town today. Yes, I know that, but I'm doing it anyways. Boom, I have an accident and broke my shoulder. Or don't put the key where you want to put it right now. But no, that's not a problem. Okay, key was gone. So for my motorbike, and I was stranded in town. So the mind argues,
Yes.
and we want to learn to follow our feeling, our intuition, because we know the mind does not. I want to go to India. Well, the mind or me have never been to India. So I have no clue, mind-wise, how that's going to be. So how can I judge to go or not to go when I have no clue? But the heart knows. It's like, yeah, that was fantastic. And yes, so I not urge, but like would suggest everybody to just learn to listen to your heart, follow your heart. And because the heart, I have heard, goes into the quantum field of possibilities and checks out how it is when I'm in India, or when I do this job, or when I have that girlfriend or boyfriend, or what, and brings back a feeling. And that's either a wrong feeling or a right feeling. I don't know how to explain this, right or wrong. It's just a feeling of, or, hmm, no. So learning that is a wonderful tool to create your life the way you envisioned it before you came.
That's beautiful. I love that. I feel like you may have already answered this question, but I'd like to ask this question to everyone. How do you choose one conscious love every day, Vinaya?
What comes to mind is just sitting in a restaurant or in a cafe, and there's a beautiful place here in Pisac in Peru where I live right now, where people just hang out and gather and stuff. And I'm almost there every day. And consciously, but not really consciously because I'm not thinking about it, but like really being with an open heart and sitting there, and through the energy, just inviting people to say hello, and then they start sharing and we connect. And there's support, and there's just love for no reason at all. Just because, hey, we're all in this together, we're all in the same boat. And I can love you even though my mind tells me many reasons not, because whatever. Yeah.
Right.
But from my heart, there's just, hey, you're a fellow human being. You're actually the same as I am, with all the challenges and with all the ups and downs and experience of planet Earth, slightly different, but still the same, which is what I learned at one point when I was in India in a workshop. Like when people went into the middle of the circle to share their problems or share this challenge, it was obvious. We all have the same stuff in our head. Mine is
Right.
called, yours called Erna, but it's still the same.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So just loving the person the way they are and accepting them because I accept myself. And I know that we're all different. So that's how I pretty much every day connect with people and be present and have a great time, because it's wonderful to just love somebody for no reason at all.
Mm.
And it's not a love which needs to do anything. You can just sit together or talk or connect or whatever form it is, but it doesn't really need any action, because the hearts just connect. And then there is consciousness, and then there is support, and then there is awareness. That's, I would say, is the way I connect once a day, probably more, to other people. And every day to nature. Like
Yeah.
that is part of the story. And it's like I have outside my window, I have like 2 trees. We are lovers. And there's a river down there. It's like my river. We are really connected. And that is part of that too. Cuddling a dog or what? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's really beautiful too, for sure. And you're living in such a beautiful space that I'm sure you get to enjoy a lot of that nature as well within this beautiful country.
Yeah. And I can do the same thing when I'm in the city, which I'm once a year in Hamburg in Germany visiting my mother, which is a
Nice.
little challenging to connect with people because, yeah, they have a different culture. So you don't talk to strangers, but
Right.
it's still possible to be present
Yes.
and also enjoy nature, even if you're in the city. There's always trees, and go and
Yes.
connect with the tree and or the grass. Be barefoot on the ground for a minute or five. And there's always a place, there's always a chance. It's just a matter, do I feel it or not? Do I want to
Hmm.
go or not? Or do I want to stay in my box and don't see anything around outside my comfort zone, my understanding from the mind? Because the mind gonna tell you, what are you talking about? The trees are your friend. What are you talking about? The tree is talking back to you. You can feel the tree, the love, the presence of the being, or what. What are you talking about? This is crazy. Yeah, it is. That's why I said in the beginning, I'm a weirdo.
In a good way. In a good way.
Yes, I have no problem with that.
That's awesome. I love it. Yes, you can feel it and you're connected deeper than we see, right? And that's what makes this human experience so beautiful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
definitely.
Anything
Yes.
else you'd like to share with our viewers today, everybody that's watching?
There was something which was in my mind when you said something, it's gone. uh, no, I don't think so.
Well, we'll
Which
make
is
sure also to invite them to connect with you, and your details will be below in the comments. And so please reach out. Vinaya is an inspiration to us all into living into our consciousness and really connecting with the best of what this life has to offer. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, love. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I wish everybody a happy moment every moment. And maybe there's one thing I would like to say is like, when we step into the moment, like close our eyes, just take a few breaths and become conscious of your breath. Open your eyes and see, wow. And no, there's nothing wrong right now. Everything is perfect. Then every moment again and again is perfect. And there's nothing to worry about. There's just to enjoy and be grateful and celebrate that we have a body, because that's the unusual part of life. When we are just, when we don't have a body, we say here we die, well, the body does. But the me, the being, who is not Vinaya, something else, does not die. But then there is no more experience. It's just isness. There's nothing happening. So remembering that gave me a big wow for enjoying every moment of having a body, broken arm or not, it doesn't matter, it's an experience. Enjoy, 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 and celebrate that you are allowed. Well, allowed is the wrong word, but that you are, that you're here.
Yeah.
That existence
Having
created
the
you.
experience, right? Oh,
Was
that's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, celebrating that you are given the experience. And so
yes,
that is definitely a gift not to be ignored.
yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was so much fun. And I invite everyone to reach out to Vinaya and make a new friend. You won't regret it.
Watch
Thank
out, I'm
you so much
dangerous.
for joining me. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Have a wonderful moment. Ciao.